And then who are we? Are we missing somebody?
Nope, you should have everybody. Laura, Paul,
Okay.
Karen, John, Greg, and Lance.
Okay. I don't know why it doesn't look as big of a group. When I do this, the library board of directors, there's like all kinds of people on the screen. So it seems like it should be more full. Okay, I will call the meeting to order then at 5:02. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from our last meeting, November 19th. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please say if all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Okay.
I think that was on an eye.
Let's say it this way: is anybody a nay? Hearing none, we'll move on. All right. First item on old business is comments from the City Law Department regarding our forms. The City Law Department did a review for us of the forms. Only had a couple of very minor changes. So I went ahead and made those changes, and I have uploaded all the forms into Dropbox. And it just dawned on me, Tom, do I have you have access to Dropbox? And maybe you won't need it. Jordan has access, but if we need to add you, we can.
Yeah, I don't have access to it, but I can get the documents from Jordan.
Okay, very good, very good. I just wanted to let you all know, as we now have, all of our documents are taken care of, our guidelines are approved and all of that, although we are still waiting to hear from the state of Missouri on our incorporation, though that is in motion now, actively moving through their process. We're ready to launch this thing, and we do have some interest already. Jordan's received an email from a woman who is interested. I've spoken to, just run into very random people that I have met who are realtors and people who are interested in this. And some people who own rental homes as well. So we're getting interest, and as you probably all know, the city's website is kind of being worked on still a little bit right now with some things. I did look at it today under the Southwest 353, and I do see there's some changes that we need to make to the wording on there. So Jordan and I will work on that. Currently it says we'll be accepting board members, which we're not, and that type of thing. So we'll clean up some of that language on the city's website as IT can get to that. So basically then the next thing that we need to move to is discussing marketing plans. I know we had mentioned where we would put marketing, such as City Scene, the city's social media platforms, maybe a public service announcement in the Examiner, quick interview with them about the process and the abatement. And then I'm wondering if, and maybe we discussed this before, maybe not at the city level, although I'm not sure. I'd like to be able to email out to realtors and rental property owners. And I don't know if there's a way through the city licensing program that someone, who owns rental properties is that, I'm sorry, I don't know if that's coded as such that we can pull emails from there. And then realtors the same way, but of course a realtor who's in Blue Springs is going to be selling property in Independence as well. So I'm wondering maybe there is some such thing at the state level. I don't know if anybody has any input on that.
I don't know.
I think we could work with the KT Realtors Association. Dan O'Neill, who is very involved in the city, would be maybe a good connection there because he's pretty involved in that real estate association, or Beth Franklin. Either of those are pretty involved in Independence, and so they would, I think, have interest in getting that out to their members. And I apologize if maybe zoned out a little bit there too, but I think we need to let the Economic Development Corporation or the Economic Development Council (EDC) know as well. And I do serve on that board. But it's definitely something I think we need to reach out to JD and Jody and staff and make sure that they're aware.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that, Greg. I can definitely get a hold of Dan and Beth. And maybe we do need to have a presentation type meeting, maybe inviting the EDC and the chamber. And then, with specifics, hits to Dan and Beth to make sure they're on that. Would that be something you think maybe a quick PowerPoint presentation conversation would be worth it?
Yeah, I think it would. I mean, both the chamber and the EDC have, for lack of a better term, elevation of housing as priorities, and so I think both organizations would be interested. We can. I'm happy to work with JD Kehrman and Tom Lesnick on trying to figure out, what makes sense for their memberships.
Yeah, if you could do that, and then just shoot me an email, and I'll work with what you come up with and Jordan, and we'll see if we can find a time or decide on a method that works for us to do that. That's a great way to get the message out, and I'm sure that the chamber would put something in their chamber newsletter, that goes out every Monday, I think maybe still, to kind of get that word out as well. I'm sure they would be willing to help us with that. So I think we have, and I'll do a little checking on the realtors thing to see what I can find. Tom or Jordan, do you know anything about rental property owners access to anything in any of your databases with email addresses?
So there is a Eastern Jackson County Landlord Association that Pat Robinson happens to be a member of. So we can reach out to Pat and try to get some information to that body.
Okay, that works. I think that those are a lot of touch points that we can work on. I also happen to meet Karen, who serves on the Board of Equalization as the city representative, and she's a realtor, and she said she would help get out information as well. So I think that gets us some good places to push. Also, I'm not my house, so I'm not in an area where there's I want to say homeowners association type group, or what's the phrase I'm looking for? Isn't there Rock Creek and something like that? They're different
HOAs
basically out there. I don't know where each of you are.
I don't think they're HOAs. I think they're just community neighborhood associations.
Okay, there's the word we're looking for. Okay, let me make a note on that, so we can get the word out to them as well. I think the word's going to get out pretty organically as we start talking to these different groups. They'll start organically spreading it out for us as well. Has anybody kind of thought of a layout of the look of something, not even a full page, but just a half page look at the marketing, catch your eye kind of marketing piece at all? We can always put Paul with his mask. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? And if not, I can work on drawing something kind of catchy and seeing if I can find someone who can do a little graphics for me. I don't do graphics in the least. Don't have any program that lets me to drag and drop fun things like that, So if anybody knows of anybody who would give us, an hour's worth of time or something to drop something kind of catchy, that would be great. You could email that to me.
Okay.
And if there's no other thoughts on the marketing, we can move to new business. The one item that I do have under new business is that Chris is moving to Atlanta for a new job. So she is not going to be serving with us anymore. She's now currently handling her district and the district in Atlanta and trying to sell a house and buy a house and, move 1,000 miles away or whatever that is. So she is needing to not do any of her, she said, her extracurricular activities anymore. So I've notified the mayor and the city clerk, and Jordan and I have talked about it, and they're going to look back to the applications that they had when we were all chosen to see if there's someone in there that they would like, to appoint to us as well. If you do have anybody that you know of that might be interested in that and has not applied, there is still the application form on the city's website. If you just search 353, you'll see the tax abatement, and then there's our Southwest area abatement and a link there, or they can always get a hold of the city clerk and she can get them a form that you fill out for boards and commissions. She is no longer with us, so we'll be serving one short until the council the mayor and Councilman Hobart meet again, get a chance to figure out who they want to appoint to that, whatever their process is for that. Are there any questions from you guys on anything? I really, at this point, like I said, I'm waiting on the state, which once they get that done, it allows me to do a few of the other little hoops that we have to jump through for getting a TIN and, a bank account and that type of thing. So any other thoughts or questions at this point? You guys are just too easy today. This is pre-holiday. Everybody's ready to be done.
So the people, Laura, with the people who have maybe reached out to us, what are they saying? Have they made any comments?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I did not finish that thought when I started that. I apologize. So they reached out to Jordan, and Jordan and I talked about it, and this was just within the last few weeks. We knew we were having the law department finish the review of our forms, which we wanted to get done, and we've been in contact with, Jordan's been in contact with this lady again to let her know where we are at. Today, while I was spending some time looking at marketing type areas and items, when I was looking on the city's website, I realized that under the Fairmount Carlisle 353, that they actually have a list of frequently asked questions and application guidelines, maps, places that you can click to get information, including a brochure, which is, pretty plain and, kind of, I don't know if I want to say old style, but you know what I mean? It's not, the information's there, but it's not like anything exciting that draws your eye. Though, again, now that we have social media, we're not going to be necessarily mailing anything out, at least until we have some, funds that we want to spend towards that. I can work on getting that language kind of cleaned up, because Jordan and I talked about, how do we want to present? So someone gets a hold of us, like in this case, this woman gets a hold of us, she's heard of it, she's interested. Do we send her the guidelines? Well, first we would ask if she's residential or multifamily commercial, and presuming, say she's residential, we would, send the residential guidelines to her, and then get some of these items on the website tidied up for our 353, and guide her to that, and then basically tell her that if she is interested, to get a hold of Jordan, and he would help coordinate a meeting. Or if the person is kind of wanting to just, have a talk through about it first, or a short meeting about it first, we can do that as well. We just talked about kind of being flexible about it. I think some people will say, oh, well, I saw this thing on the city's Facebook page. I might be interested, and they might be guided to some of the frequently asked questions and then decide, no, that's not for me, or yes, it is for me. And then we can say, get a hold of us. but I want to kind of be a little flexible with that. I don't want it to be like, oh, it has to come to us this way with that,
Sure.
method, until I kind of see the method we fall into, what works best. And of course, during COVID, we cannot have any in-person meetings. So, meeting type things are a little more difficult, but we can work on that. We can work with them. So, Jordan has, like I said, did she indicate, is she a residential or is she a rental property owner? Jordan, I don't remember in that email.
No, it was very basic. It was just that she had heard about it and she was interested. And at the time, we had really just started meetings, so there was no information for her. And I had asked her to follow back up after about November, and she had. So, we're getting real close to the point where we have everything for her. We just needed to kind of get that process, kind of understand what we were going to offer her if someone did reach out. And so she's kind of the first one in line. So.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, now that we have all of our forms and that kind of thing, and of course, now that the holiday is next week, although as you may have heard me indicate before, I thought when this gentleman told me, well, the holidays are next week, and I thought, what are you talking about? We got another week, but we clearly don't. Maybe a meeting the first, after the 1st of January sometime would be, we could get her some information in the meantime, and then say, we would be, willing to meet with her, talk with her, have a phone conversation, a go-to meeting like this type thing after the 1st of the year. And the people that I've spoken to, someone knocked on my door one day, and he's a guy, he owns a rental property at the house that's kind of in my backyard area, and was asking me a question, and I did not realize that was a rental property, but he's a very attentive owner, and so I was chatting with him about the 353, and I just sent him today the guidelines for that, and said, get a hold of me if you're interested. So he owns some properties in the SWRP area. So it looks like he might be interested. And then, like I said, that woman that I met, Karen, who's on the Board of Equalization, that she was willing to spread the word around. And she said that definitely would probably, of course, right now it's a seller's market, but, it doesn't always hurt to have some other incentive for people to, to purchase in that area, knowing that that's an option. So those are some of the interests that I've heard. So,
Good to know.
Let's see. I don't know that I have, like I said, I don't think I have anything else. I think we can keep this short tonight. If there isn't anything else, we'll just note that we are going to meet on January 20th. I think at this point, things are going to start to become a little more flexible now. We may not end up needing to meet every month. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to work on something that I can, some type of layout of a catchy little box or information sheet that I think that would, of course, only incorporate things that we've already have language for. I wouldn't be going out on a limb, and that I could just maybe email around and see if anybody has any suggestions on that. I don't want us to violate any sunshine laws or anything like that, but we're talking about a small little piece of marketing material at that point that we could then approve at the January 20th meeting if we need to. But I think we can get some other things going on the website and start getting people pointed that direction to get the word out.
Can I ask, I'm sorry, I was reading something. You said one of your neighbors stopped by, landlord?
Mm-hmm.
And did you give him any forms, or it was just a conversation?
It was a conversation, and this was about 3 weeks ago, maybe now, and I got his email. So today, as I was going through doing my 353 things I needed to check off my list, I just emailed him the guidelines and for residential. I think he's only single family home, and I don't even know that he has a duplex. I don't think he's multifamily. So I just sent him the guidelines. He is by talking to him, I could see that he is very comfortable like reading a document like that and getting a general idea, and told him to reach back out to me if he was, decided he wanted to do something. So I don't have a problem, if someone says, hey, I might be interested. Can you send me the guidelines and or the plan document? I think the plan document, the plan itself might be a little, it's more general information about 353s than it is about like, what about my house? How is that going to affect my property? So I think that's okay. It's out there on Dropbox now. It's all been approved. So if you know, have somebody who's interested and you want to send it to them, and then just say, follow up with, like follow up with Laura, and I will get you in contact to get the next questions answered. I think we should be good with that. There should be no reason not to share those documents at this point, unless anybody feels otherwise.
Okay. I don't know why I thought everyone was to be directed to staff for the application and.
I would just say, if you guys want to handle it that way, if you get questions, you can always just refer them to me. That's always, if you feel uncomfortable taking questions or whatever, feel free to do that. I can email, well, you should all have my contact information on there, but I can, if you want me to, send another email with contact information or something, just, direct them to me. And then, as Laura said, at some point, all of these documents will be online, so people will have access to it. And I would imagine we do some notification out there, whether it's in City Scene or others, that will have a link or information to let them know that it's available there. So people will, I think, at some point have these documents floating around and may come to us, at some point saying, hey, I got this off the website and want to talk about it. So.
Yeah. And I don't want anyone to feel like they have to, take comment, questions that they're not comfortable answering and that type of thing. I was just sending it out as, I've met some people that I know that might be interested. And then I can either guide them through to Jordan or maybe answer their questions and see how that goes. But I do think too that once we get to someone who does want to have a discussion, it seems a little, what do I want to say, a little more than just curious, is now, interested, and we set up a discussion with them. I think, I would like us at least I know I would like to join a couple of those discussions so that I can hear how the questions go, what people are asking, how we're answering, so we just, as we go here, we learn what the process is, and, then we get the application to them and how did that go. I know for myself, I want to really follow these first few properties or cases, or however you want to say it, to see how we do in action, basically.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I was waiting for the second. I knew it was. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a happy holiday. And I just want to let you know that I really do enjoy working with all of you, and appreciate that we are now to the point where we're going to move into this in 2021 and do exactly what the EDIC wanted us to do and get this going. So I appreciate your help. And if there's nothing else, all in favor, say bye.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.